Welcome, everybody. We are back now, finally, with the final section of episode 5, The Blood Calls Blood, which is a line from a later book, a better series. But this is the episode that broke it for a lot of people. And I think the parts that broke it for a lot of people are in this final third. You're joined, as always, by Dane Bornhold, myself. We've got Alex Green and Pips, and our special guest reviewer today, OBG70, another YouTube content creator. He created some of the funniest short clips. What was it, OBG? You did that one with the Spanish comedian with the subtitles. It was like 7 minutes of hilarity. I think
Yes.
we all got a great kick out of that one when that made it to the White Cloaks subreddit. So stoked to have you on. We had you on a previous live stream, been doing some stuff together. So we're really glad that you're able to be here and to be here for the nipple twisting that will be the culmination of today's shenanigans.
I
Um,
I I literally hate all of you.
okay,
I
perfect.
just hate
So,
you.
so before we get into this too much, as always, I'm on some wine, but Alex, can you tell us which obscure craft brew you're drinking? Pips can then say what he's drinking, and then we can do a proper intro for OBG.
Sure. So I have a New Glarus Brewing Company Spotted Cow.
Thought you already had that one before. You don't mix it up, or wait,
Uh,
was it Pips that drank the spotted cow in Milwaukee when he was
I
there?
I drank the spotted cow.
Oh, and it was so good that Alex decided to go get himself a case.
It is good.
I, I've been drinking Spotted Cow since probably before I was allowed to be drinking Spotted Cow. So it's a classic and a staple of the region.
I'm gonna have to go get some. Pips, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking one of my standbys. I got some Jefferson's Ocean bourbon, aged at sea.
That they're not endorsing you, you're endorsing them, correct?
Exactly.
Standard fare. Okay, OBG, we got
Yeah.
two questions. First one, which is usually disappointingly answered with "I don't drink," is what are you drinking today?
I have here on my desk a vintage 2022 Diet 7 Up
Whoa.
and a porcelain mug of Kona coffee with 3 sugars and 1 cream,
Okay.
and that's about it. Yeah. I might go crazy later and drink water, although that's just nasty stuff.
You have to explain the thinking behind the diet soda and the
Yeah,
three
I see.
sugars.
I see Balefire over there saying the same thing. No, it is.
All right.
It is the packets of the fake sugar stuff, whatever it is. The stuff for us type 2 diabetics. We have to stay away from sugar, so it's whatever the
Okay.
supplement is.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. So,
Stevia.
yeah, we've had a surprising amount of non-drinkers on the show. We honestly thought everyone
Well,
would be
okay,
as
so
smashed as us,
we
but
talked about pre-show. Let me explain.
okay.
I'm not a non-drinker. I just don't drink normally. It's not a thing I do every day. It's special occasions type of thing. It's party type of thing. It's going on vacation type of thing, that I'm drinking. But it's sitting around the house drinking beer is not my thing. It never has been.
So
Not
would you
even when the
say-
show is playing.
No, I just
Oh,
yeah. There might be alcohol in the house somewhere, but it's regular off the shelf Vaughn's. Whatever the cheap stuff is that you mix drinks when the in-laws come over. It's
I can actually
don't-
appreciate that. So he said he drinks on special occasions, and I think we can all agree that Wheel of Time is nothing special. At
Yeah.
least the Wheel of Prime is nothing special.
no, it's the opposite. This is a
obviously-
coping mechanism, but I think that's the healthiest approach to alcohol I've ever heard. Actually, OBG. So good on you.
Yeah,
This
I was
show's
gonna say, he
completely
doesn't
broken me.
need-
So
I was going to say he doesn't need that coping mechanism. It sounds like he's one of those emotionally mature people. Which
I just don't want to know what I'm like when I'm drunk.
oh,
I don't want to ever get to that point. And I
It's-
was never
it's
in
funny
a
you say that.
fraternity. I was never in a fraternity or in the military, so I was never around people that were like, just here's a beer. You have to have a beer in your hands. And so my dad drank, but I just never did. It got past me.
It's funny that you say that because from the military background, you're 100% right. It's everyone's drinking, so you're drinking. And the joke is always that I could never trust someone who doesn't drink because they don't trust themselves.
Damn
okay.
straight.
All right, OBG.
Yes,
We got to ask you your connection to the Wheel of Time because we do that with every guest, and
sure.
we found plenty who some people who are new to the series, some who picked it up just before the show, some right after. But I understand you are one of the original, like as kind of old school Wheel of Time fans as you can find out there. So getting a bit of that background would be great. Please indulge us.
Yeah. So when I started college, I didn't do very well because I was always reading. I was reading in class. I was reading at stoplights. I was reading all the time. And I would devour anything science fiction and fantasy at the local bookstore to the point where I would finish it in one day. Like I would stop at lunchtime on the way back from university. I'd pull into the Crown Books, Walden Books, B. Dalton Bookstore, whatever was around, grab a book, read during lunch, read. I'd have it. I was working on stuff and I would have the book there on my desk. I was always reading. And Conan by Robert E. Howard was one of my favorites. And Robert Jordan started writing some of those books, and I just
Yeah.
fell in love with the way that Robert Jordan wrote. And I ran out of them. And I went to the bookstore one day and I said, "Look, I'm waiting for another Robert Jordan Conan book to come out. When is that going to happen?" And they said, "It's not. He's done." I was heartbroken. I said, What do you mean he's done?" It's like, "Yeah, he's writing his own series now. We just got the first in." And
Wow.
the first Wheel of Time book, The Eye of the World, was not in hardcover. It was like a really big paperback, a really thick, same size as a hardback, but it just didn't
The,
have the
the
hard covers on them.
the science fiction library edition. I think Osimoto, we had a guest who was mentioning that there seemed to be
Mm,
kind of an in between edition. But
yeah.
go on.
So whatever it was, yeah. And so they said, "Here," and they handed me this book. And I thought, okay, Robert Jordan, he's got to be good. And as I read it, I remember being very angry with him because from what I can tell, he ripped off David Eddings' Belgariad series. I'm like, what the hell is this all about? This is the same story. Farm boy, finds out he's the hero, goes off and do adventures, and it's the same thing. Pawn of prophecy.
Yeah, you got
And
an Aunt Pulgera versus a Moraine, so there was
yep,
kind of the lady magician. Okay, yeah,
yep,
I see where you're
yeah. It
going.
was it was the cast of characters. It was all very similar. And but there was a problem though, and that is that it was written about three orders of magnitude better. It was just very, very well written. I said, I don't care. Like I didn't care anymore. So then when Great Hunt came out, I bought that and read that. And to this day, I still hold Great Hunt to be my favorite book ever. I just of any kind, any genre, anything. I just love the
Wow.
pacing. I love the characters. I love some of the developments in the plot that went through that series, that book. I just fell in love with the Great Hunt, and I do have close seconds. I really like Shadow Rising is probably my second, Dragon Reborn my third. But yeah, the Great Hunt that sold it for me. And ever since then, I've been reading them as they came out. I would go back, of course, to book one and read book one, two, and then three, and then one, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, five, etc.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then the old news groups. If it's I know that's like you don't talk about Fight Club, you don't talk about news groups. And the news groups had obviously a news group for his book specifically, would hang out in there. I didn't really like most of the people that were in there, but there was nothing else. There wasn't the white cloaks on Reddit. There wasn't a Reddit. There was just no place to go and hang out. And then there
So
was some
was that
people
the
that
old?
yeah. It's like rec dot sci-fi dot fantasy dot books dot for Jordan or something like that. I don't know what it was. And then finally, there was a guy doing the encyclopedia Wheel of Time that was different than the Wheel of Time encyclopedia that I was always on there learning about all the backgrounds, all the characters, all the development. See, the thing is about I always say about Wheel of Time is that it's multiple layers based on all the different philosophies and everything that we all know about are the mythologies. And the more you know about all that stuff, the more you find within the series. And so you need a source like the Encyclopedia Wheel of Time, where if someone discovers something, like I know what that emblem was that Baal Domon held up, that he had the sense of envy or whatever it was. I know what that meant. And I know what this other thing and so people would come together in one spot and they would provide information. And that's what's so great about places like, like the White Cloaks. Like you guys developed a place where everybody can come together and talk about stuff like that. Now I don't know. I'm not a Redditor, so I know you guys came from there. I'm just not a person that normally hangs out there. I still like the news groups, honestly. and I still like to just go out onto discussion boards. I stay away from Dragon Mount, but no, for no particular reason. Just I don't know. I don't know. I don't really care for them too much, but overall,
Well,
I try to just keep up on what's going on, and I like to go down rabbit holes. I tend to do a lot of research. I want to know what the connection is. I want to know why the characters are related to some kind of mythology, where they came from, where Robert Jordan took the ideas from. And
well,
there's really difficult to find a series that's so deep that you can do that. I can't think of anything else.
I
Maybe
think this is
Tolkien.
I think this is fantastic. So it's legit. Not only were you a fan of Wheel of Time, maybe from the beginning, or maybe it took to the second book, as you're saying, you might have been a little bit disappointed because you had other expectations, but you were a Robert Jordan fan before even Wheel of Time came out because you were reading the Conan books beforehand. So
Yeah, I agree.
that's a hell of a lot of credibility, and that you're there the whole way doing rereads. And this series has obviously meant a lot for you, that you've stuck with it and you're still creating content or talking about it and active about it, even though it's been 30 years since the first book came out, 32. So uh, super stoked to have an old school fan on. Again, we've had a few, but all us white cloaks, let's just bow down to OBG's massive credibility. And I do believe you as well. You met the man. You showed that on our last live stream. You've got a signed copy of The Dragon Reborn, but you're able to meet him in the flesh. And that makes us, a lot of us, fairly jealous, because some of us are very, very big fans and never had that opportunity. So,
Yeah, being able to shake his hand and say hi was definitely one of my high points. But I mean, I would like to have gone to one of the conventions that he did, where you actually can talk to him a little bit longer. It's just one of those things. You go through the line, get your thing signed, and then please move aside,
yeah.
next person through. So you don't really you could kind of hang out and kind of listen to some questions people ask, but I was always too busy. So yeah, but it was fun meeting him, and I'm glad I got to do it before he passed.
Yeah.
Well, with that in mind, I think our whole community of White Cloaks came together to kind of hate on this show, which I think, initially saw quite rapidly as a desecration of a man's life's work. And so it's good to be with you for this one, because, as I said at the outset, for a lot of people who maybe didn't clue in right away, or was giving the show the benefit of the doubt, this was really the episode that broke the camel's back. And it's this section, particularly the ending. So, unless we got any further questions for OBG, do we want to get started?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say let's just go ahead and start.
Okay. So we're going from Egwene is unbreakable to some tent porn.
All right. Hold on to your butts.
Fucking helicopter pilot.
Buffering.
Buffer.
Buffering.
Oh.
I'm not even gonna try and fix this in post. It's just happening, guys.
Many things. But above all else, she's unbreakable.
Women affirming women.
uh, okay. Now, the lighting is flickering. It's outside the tent. Do we see the flickering on the faces?
Well, the main thing to think about is that he left them. It was daytime, and they didn't have any of those candles lit. So I think that they took a quick nap. They came back in and lit all those candles, not the candles that they didn't use during the
Right.
sort of purification slash sterilization of the knife, obviously. Um, and I guess they just took a quick nap before they decided to get a good think on how they were going to try and fix this situation. Heron obviously was napping because he didn't realize that his feet weren't tied down and that his hands were easily freeable.
I asked the chat some questions about this in the fallout of our previous rewatch, which
Yeah.
got the technical term for a submissive that is this submissive, I believe, is a pet.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. He wants to get beaten some more.
Apropos.
The lighting in this is pretty silly. I mean, obviously, we've talked about this before. When you have a point light source in the shot, and then the light comes from the other direction. So, like the lighting hitting him right now is like above and from the side the camera is facing. And
Probably
then you
filmed
have
on a studio, so
and then you have the light source behind him. Obviously, there are other candles in the tent, but like the light on his face is not flickering. The light on her face is not flickering. All of the lights around them is flickering.
So you mentioned this, I think, in before we went to live on this. But is she taking a dump here, or does she just want that knife?
Gwen, stop.
I mean,
She's not moving her fucking arms.
maybe that line was him saying like, "I can smell what you're doing from over here. I need you to stop."
I've got wolf smell now. Please stop. Just stop. Her feet are also not tied down. Not that it matters.
Is she trying to use like the force, right, to bring the
If it doesn't,
I think
lightsaber
so.
over so she can cut herself loose? Okay.
Oh man, what a Perrin line! Just like, "I want to die."
I don't want him to die too.
Which, to be fair, actual Perrin watching this scene would be like, "Seriously, kill me, make it end."
no. This is what I deserve.
Fuck off.
Layla.
Okay.
No.
So can we pause here? I got a question to ponder here. So we know because it's established later that Perrin actually didn't give a crap about Layla. And he was in love with Egwene the whole time, unless that turns out to be Rand, in which mea culpa here, you can ignore everything that I'm saying. But is Perrin such a piece of shit that what he's doing here is actually trying to seduce Egwene by being a sympathetic creep? Or is that beyond the pale?
I don't even know it. The problem is, no matter how generous you look at the Perrin, Egwene, Layla love triangle,
Mm-hmm.
not only is there no way to save Perrin, it's not even possible to make it consistent.
That's
Like,
what I was gonna say. I'm not sure that there's any. I'm not sure there's any angle. I think it's that when this script writer wrote it, he didn't know that the next script writer was gonna make Perrin be in love with Egwene.
So,
That's it.
so they were legit trying to write like an emotional scene, and the actors, because they probably hadn't read the next script yet, it's like they acted this like this was legit. So we can't read into the subtext at all.
I mean, I think the problem with this show is that, people, it's hilarious to look at like the show subs and people like sitting there theorizing about like, oh, they had this, which like could mean down the line maybe we'll see this, and it's like, stop trying. Like, the people making the
Oh.
show are not smart enough to lay foreshadowing and like anything. The show has no consistency, so you can't, like, anything you try and guess if it happens is just pure happenstance. Like, that was not in any way established. There's no plan for any of this. Like, these people are just incompetent at their jobs.
Well, shit, Pips, you're stealing my thunder because I want to have like a 30-minute discussion about the Forsaken a little bit later. Damn it.
and it's one of those things. If the text is incomprehensible, the subtext is certainly not there.
look at her face. He's like, it was my fault, and she's like confused. I don't think that's the right face.
I mean, I don't think she knows that he killed her, and I also don't think she's smart enough to realize that he's actually retarded. So, like, if you were, if your friend had just said something incomprehensible to you and was serious about it, you might look at them confused, like, friend, why did you say that completely nonsensical thing?
Except he hasn't said he just said it's his fault, which she should still be thinking, it's not your fault that the Trollocs killed your wife. Like, you did everything you could. She shouldn't be confused. She should be like the empathetic friend who's trying to convince you, like, no, man, it's not your fault that Trollocs attacked our village. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep, nope, you're 100% correct.
the confusion
Yeah.
only makes sense once you realize what he is actually trying to communicate. That, like, no, I chopped her down like cordwood and killed my unborn baby. And then she does, confused, sort of like dog with its head cocked kind of face.
We were fighting them off together. The Trollocs. And I
No shit.
then I heard another from behind me.
So Perrin is calling Layla a Trolloc.
Yes, I think he did.
She had enough earrings.
But it was her.
See, this is what I mean. At this point, her face should be going to like horror, right?
Hmm.
It should have been going from like empathy and compassion to like what the actual fuck, right? And instead, she still is confused.
Yeah.
And this is like, I mean, look, I can't hate necessarily on her as an actor, but we've talked about this before. Like the acting coaches and like the director of
The direction.
cinematography, like all of those things, those people should be punched in the fucking face.
Yeah, so the Sally Two Names should be basically telling Egwene's actress here right now. It's like, why are you reacting with confusion? You should be like something should be dawning on you that this is a terrible
Well,
traumatic thing that he's
Yes.
confessing to you. Right? Right,
somebody,
OBG? What do you
well, somebody told her, okay, so you're going to go from confused to understanding to shock to horror, and she
Yes.
stopped at confusion. That's as far as she could remember.
Yeah, it's if you were to take all of the shots that we see of her in this scene, it looks like she tried to shit herself, didn't, and then was confused by her inability to produce, sort of shit. she's like, no, I definitely felt like I had one in the chamber there, and nothing came out. Like I'm not.
So if this was a silent film and they had no dialogue and you have to like cut in what they say, you're saying you could repurpose this scene for a hilarious toilet humor bit.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember eating that. But look, guys, I just want to say though that it was very nice of Rafe to bring his equipment. I don't know if it fit into his car. He had to rent a truck or something, but I'm glad that he brought it from his basement and let them use it on set. So
Oh, the
that was
sex
nice of him.
dungeon stuff. That is
Yeah,
nice.
all that
actually.
stuff. Yeah, it's very nice. Of
No,
him.
no, no. Come on, come on. If anything we know about the money laundering in this show, it was probably a very expensive sex rack that he bought. He didn't bring it from his own dungeon, but that's where it ended up once the filming was done.
Oh, you think it went the other way? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Other way around.
I mean, there's an argument to be made for both because the stuff does look well used. It's like one of the only props that we see in the entire show, costumes, props, whatever, that shows any like wear and sort of like, real world kind of it's got some banged up edges and stuff like that.
We cannot use this. It looks too new. Don't worry. I'll
Yeah.
take care of that.
Yeah, so if it was new, I mean, good on him. He really broke it in and made it look
Yes.
lived in.
Broke
you know
it
what I
in
mean?
over the long weekend before
Yeah.
filming. Oh,
Yeah. Him
and
and Maxim did some high quality work for this scene is all we can really take away from this.
and we're canceled.
My own hands. My own axe.
Oh my god.
Where's your axe,
Where's-
Baron?
Where's
Where's
your
your
own
axe?
axe?
It was her axe. It wasn't even his.
Killed her.
Let's see, back to her. Now compassion? Like what do you
Sad?
guys sad? Yeah, like
What facial expression is that?
I'm not sure.
Is it pity?
Sad.
That's
Oh,
almost getting there. That was almost getting there.
Parents'
She's
open
shaking her
mouth
head.
disease is infectious.
She's kind of getting there. It just was way delayed.
Have we reached?
Okay, I have to say it again. Dude, get a freaking pump before you walk in the room, man. Like, do some push ups. Shit. Like, you are intimidating no one.
Well, shit, why don't they just get her Natalie Portman's arms from Thor? That could probably do it too, right?
Because that
It's a
would
little-
cost money.
little bit of CGI arms in there. Like, look at that.
Well,
His jacket's not even like tight around the sleeves there. Like that.
Mhm.
It's like, he borrowed his older brother's coat.
Man, one of the things I love about this is like, it's like, so Perrin and Egwene are going to talk about the trauma of Perrin killing his wife? No, Valda's going to walk in. We're just going to like completely move past it. We're not going to exchange ideas at all. Like, we're not even going to give him like a, it's not your fault, but it wasn't Perrin. Like, just couldn't even run the severity of the scene correctly.
Well, I mean, that makes sense though when you think about Perrin has already hit his quota of dialogue for the episode. So like the conversation had nowhere else to go. I mean, she could have just sort of Egwene-splained everything, but like the plot had to move along. Perrin had had enough time.
Well, when you can't write emotional scenes and you sit there and pound your tip of your pen against the tablet going, what do I put here? How do I resolve this? Where do I go next? Well, this is your answer. Just have somebody walk in the room.
Yeah, you just have Valda pop in and go,
Yeah.
oh, I'm here now.
And you don't have to write any, you're done. Next scene. Yeah.
Imagine like writing this scene and thinking that like, yeah, the White Cloaks would not have had listening, stuff listening right outside the tent. They would not have done that at all. Totally none of that. Because Valda should have walked in and be like, dude, you just confessed to murder. I'm just gonna kill you regardless. I already think you're a dark friend. You just said you killed your wife. This
Yep.
is the
was a
easiest day of work I've ever had.
Or his Trolloc wife. Yeah.
Also, I wanted to pause on his jacket here again. I think we didn't get to see it earlier because of the lighting, but the subtle, again, crucifixes all over his shirt. You guys see that, like the pattern of his
Yep.
shirt. It's just
Yep.
ridiculous. Like,
God.
I get it, Rafe. You hate the church. We get it. It's not the church. It's a fantasy series. I'm sorry.
That does
Where-
drive me crazy with
Where
some
on
of
the doll
patterns in this show.
did the church hurt you?
Very well. No decision is still a decision. Eventually, the boy will bleed out.
What a
God, I hope so.
egregious sound effect.
It was an accident, Perrin.
Oh, here we
Your
go.
fault.
Another surgical cut.
Whole life to realize that. But you will.
Barking, howling in the distance. So somebody brought this up on the White Cloak subreddit when this was first coming out. So just one of those kind of reading rainbow, the more you know situations. So wolves don't bark. Dogs bark. Wolves don't. Just
Yes.
just a thing,
Mhm.
She promises they're going to escape. Man, I'm sure that means so much to him as he's getting tortured.
No. Egwene, no.
And now she finally remembers how to channel after struggling to move the knife with the force.
She was struggling to make a bowel movement, is what she was struggling to.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Can you imagine if you're Valda, you think she can channel, and you're just standing there? Like,
Excited.
So does this knowledge come from her in the weeds moments with Moraine, or is this from being pushed into the river?
this is because the plot demanded it.
This is probably, I mean, just
It's a bit of both.
superpower sort of, Mary Sue. I don't know. There's lots of things happening here. Notice that the one power it came from off, right? Didn't we point this out that that they have no consistency on where the flows come from?
But
sometimes they
the
come
other
from
thing-
the person, other times they come sort of off camera or from the ground or from
Is just like Master Hightower, who saw that Moraine was channeling to sink the ferry long before kind of actual effects were happening. It looks like Eamon Valda, the same thing, can see female weaves, even though he doesn't channel and is not a woman.
Well,
I
we
just
have that
had-
ruled out.
Because
What, are
the
you a
only thing,
biologist?
yes,
I'm just not buying that those ropes actually can hold her hands in. She could
No,
slip in.
not remotely.
not,
Yeah, that's
But
a
it-
given. That's a given. No
from-
one looking
from
at
the
that
lore-
thinks she's tied down.
from the lore, the first effect that Valda or someone would see would basically be the glow in her hand, but not the weave kind of going into it. And maybe she started acting like, okay, she needs to float on the river or whatever, and that's how she's embracing Sidar. But I'd wager that's way too subtle for the show. They're just saying everyone can see those fucking weaves, so it sucks, but we've been over that plenty of times. Okay.
Man, we talked about it last time. The fox
Yeah,
head. The fox head's
is
gonna
he-
fucking happen.
He's got a fox head, Terangriel? Or was
It's-
that just very, very pathetic?
In the context, I say pathetic.
Do you guys want me to play it back here again? Because I thought when I first saw the shot, it looked like it fizzled out, right? Whereas a fireball thrown at him should have singed and then sort of burned out. You know what I mean? Like the fabric should have caught and then it would have kind of spread a little bit and burned out.
Yeah, oh,
You know,
yeah.
like
And
in the absence
Valda
of a
could have
heat
been
source.
like patting it down, being like, "Ooh, that's spicy."
Exactly. Exactly. But this looks like it, hit something and fizzled.
It
Do you
does
guys
land sort of right where you would expect a medallion to be resting, right? Maybe a little lower.
Here, we'll only do this a few times here, guys. Let's try it out. I'll just play it with no pauses and we can see the weakness or fizzling. Right?
No
Like,
no lasting effect whatsoever.
yeah, no singe,
Gone.
no anything. I think that they're gonna pull some bullshit where like Valda has the fox head. I think chat was right, where the origin of the fox head is gonna be Matt
No,
steals it off
it
of
wasn't
Valda.
chat. It was show apologists and me who came up with that thought independently because, as we established, my drunken brain processing power is the equivalent of all of the Watch Show fandom.
I love that
But
he
he,
laughs.
anyway,
Find me harder to kill than that girl.
and he looks smug about it.
With the
Yeah.
flame so smooth. In truth, I was expecting more.
Oh God! And here's confirmed.
That's literally the sound from Teen Wolf.
Protect me.
But stop here. Pause.
I wanted to get the golden eyes.
Oh God. Okay. If there is any doubt, like we saw it plenty of times, but those feet were not tied down at all. Because he
Yes.
No.
stood and started walking out. 100% not tied down. He stayed there like a pet, bleeding out his back, where he could have shuffled himself to the side, gotten around, had access to all his hands, cut stuff around. Like with access to his feet, he could have dragged that fucking sex horse to the table and gotten to the knife.
Yes.
Like
He could have just stood up, put it over his head, and slammed it down and shattered it into a million pieces, and then it would have been gone.
Well, again,
No.
the knots on his hands were basically in his hands. Like the knot
yeah, they
between
were-
his hands was between his wrists. So just a little bit of slack on that rope, and he could have just untied his hands. So walking around, he could have untied it. He could have got, like you said, grabbed the knife. There's so many different ways that he could have done it. This scene is absolutely ridiculous.
There were
they-
lit candles all around. He could have gotten to one of the candles and burned one of the ropes himself. Like
Yes.
But the color on his skin right there, did they actually put like a gold light to shine into his eyes to make it look like his eyes were gold?
so.
Or
I
is
think
that-
that's
it's-
CGI.
the effect is what it is. But no, I love how. Why would anybody need to train how to learn to channel in this show? Like, if Egwene can very controlled burn ropes from a distance, like, and Nynaeve can just group heal people, why does anybody train to do anything?
That, and I love how the people explaining this, like, oh yeah, she did the fireball as a distraction. It's like, really, she had the ability to burn through a fairly thick rope in a matter of seconds, and instead of lighting Valda's fucking brains on fire, she threw a fake fireball and then burned his ropes. Like, this is
Not
fucking
only
dumb.
that, but if that was a distraction to break free Perrin, breaking Perrin free, as we'll see, is the distraction so that Nynaeve can pick up Valda's
Egwene.
knife for some reason. Egwene can pick up Valda's knife and stab him in the back. So the fireball is a distraction to create a distraction
Mhm.
to create a fallen knife for an inexplicable backstab.
Which it's worth pointing out that knife should never have been sitting there. So I don't want to back this up again, so I won't.
You don't have to, but
you guys can tell us in the comments in the chat if I'm right on this. So Valda is cutting Perrin's back. She
Mhm.
starts channeling. He
Mhm.
feels it somehow and turns to face her. He's holding the knife in, I think, his right hand. Perrin's on his right. And then in the process of watching her, somehow the knife ends up on the table on his left. So he would have had to, I think, off camera, transfer the
No,
knife from his right side and then set it down in order to watch her. I don't think we saw him set the knife down.
he drops the knife because he goes, here, light, protect me, and then like a little bitch, he
No,
drops
because
the
we
knife.
saw the knife. We saw the knife on the table before that, didn't we?
No,
I think
we saw
you're gonna have to back this one up, Pips.
fuck. No.
Damn it!
God, if your parent like, how much do you hate Egwene? Like, are you kidding me, Egwene? You could have gotten us out of this anytime you wanted to. You could have just channeled and burned these ropes. Like, why did you let me get tortured?
She was
Alright,
just too
guys.
constipated.
We have to do it here.
Knife watch on the White Cloaks. He's totally got the knife in his hand.
Knife is in a right hand. See?
Yeah.
Right hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'll find me harder to kill.
Knife's in
than
his right hand.
Yeah.
especially with a flame so smooth. In truth, I was expecting more.
Roar. Teen Wolf.
Don't stab
3
him.
legs.
What are you?
Okay, you're right.
Drops
It was
the
right
knife.
after this shot.
Dropped. Oh my god!
Okay.
Imagine being like, this is supposed to be a villain. This is supposed to be an impressive villain, and rather
Blade
than
Master.
stabbing Perrin with that knife,
Blade
he
Master.
panics and drops it. Yes,
Just his
a Blade
Egwene.
Master.
Egwene is inexplicably now out of her chair. And she stabs him.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Perrin couldn't do anything action. Yeah, he couldn't do any action shots. Obviously.
But not obviously. So if Egwene was being clever and did a distracting fireball to draw Valda's attention so that she could burn Perrin's ropes, and then Perrin could stand up so that Perrin could be the distraction, so she burned her own ropes.
Yes.
And she knew that Valda was going to be so frightened of Perrin with golden eyes for the first time that he would drop his knife and she would be able to pick it up and stab him in the back. Who wrote this?
Excellent. That's
What?
excellent writing.
Stab him
Why
not
would
in the
you
back,
write this?
in the shoulder.
I'm paraphrasing Alex here. Why would you write this?
6D chess as
Who
There's-
thought this was a good idea?
This is
Oh my
also
god.
look at his face. Like there's a knife buried in his back right now.
It'll take a
So-
minute for it to
So
register.
their CGI sort of lineup of the knife and the stab. It's probably, you know what? It's probably a COVID social distancing thing. I'm sure that's what the show shills will say. So she's not
stabbed a
actually
dummy?
there. Yeah, so she's not actually there. They sort of spliced this together in post, and they just didn't line it up properly. And we should all really forgive them for that because COVID, right?
What is
And then he just dies. That knife wound to the shoulder on his right side, just dead.
He might not be dead. So
no,
that-
I
Dogs
know that
barking.
Piran.
Fucking
know that
dogs
he-
barking.
Yep. I know that Piran is
I-
supposed to come across as dim-witted but really smart. They sure nailed it.
I'm not sure that we've seen the smart. We've seen the dim-witted for sure.
You ever seen the
Oh,
dim-witted slack
Fucking
jawed?
crushed it.
Pips,
But,
thank
yeah.
you, because you foreshadowed to this on like our first rewatch, like dogs barking.
Yep.
And I was looking for it because I saw barking and we kind of went everywhere with okay, yeah, wolves don't bark, so every bark is kind of, this is legit right here. Let's do a big call out. He was right. The subtitles actually said dogs barking. The subtitles agree with us. These are not wolves. These are dogs right here.
I
Irrefutable.
just want to say,
I find it
say
so-
thank you to Rafe and his team for honestly like a moment of honesty. Like they're sitting there and they're like, no one will believe these are wolves. We should probably just tell them. We should just admit what we're doing and just be, you know, come clean, guys. It'll feel good. It'll feel good.
Mea culpa. Everyone appreciates a good confession. I agree with that sentiment.
Ugh.
And I don't know what I find funnier. That Valda was torturing a magic user and was like, is totally comfortable with the fact that Egwene can cast fireballs. But Perrin having yellow eyes is clearly so terrifying that he dropped his weapon in panic.
Yes. Yeah.
Or that in a moment of panic, Valda looked into Perrin's eyes and noticed the yellow. Like,
Yep.
I cannot even recall an instance you know, I guess I look people in the eye, but I don't remember people's eye color. Like, especially not in a high stress situation. I'd be like, oh man, the torchlight are really bouncing off this kid's eyes and making it look weird.
Yeah,
If you were
especially
even
when all the
remotely thinking about it.
all the
real
lighting is
world.
yellow. There's a very yellow filter on everything here.
A real person involved in the situation would have turned around and said like, "Oh shit," and then stab, and been like, "Oh man, his blood is really red." That's the color you would have noticed. Like you're literally holding a knife in the process of like you were just stabbing this dude 2 seconds ago.
Okay.
Well, it's a good thing he
Oh.
didn't call out for help though, because that would have ruined the scene.
That's the other thing. Like if you're interrogating and torturing magic users, you're telling me that there's not a dude looking through a peephole with a crossbow?
You went fucking glory holes in these white cloak tents, man.
Dude, Rafe
Uh,
definitely put glory holes in the set. You fucking know that.
Probably.
Up,
Why would you do
so
that?
that shot right there with
he
Valda
was
lying on the ground.
rolling on the ground. So
Yeah. So, but what I want to know, what the fuck does Perrin have in his hands here?
a
Egwene's
rope?
purse.
Rand's underwear.
Both good
carrying,
answers.
He's carrying Egwene's purse. That's final answer for me.
That's
I don't
probably
know.
right.
What does he have in his hands?
I have no clue what he would be gathering here, but so Egwene we saw take the rings. Now I'm going to say this, and I think this is the best place to bring it up. But I didn't mention this in the very first rewatch when we saw Moraine's egregious ring. But when I first saw that, my instinct was, why would you put the gemstone signifying the Aja on the ring? How are you going to do the whole storyline of Egwene and Elaine and Nynaeve pretending to be Aes Sedai of
You're not going to
particular
do that
Ajas?
storyline.
Well, that's what we know now. But for a brief moment when watching the show and I saw her steal the rings on the chain, I thought, oh, that's what they're doing. Egwene is going to keep these rings and it's going to help her masquerade as a full sister when she does so in subsequent books. So in subsequent seasons, she's going to have a secret supply of Aes Sedai rings with the gems, and that's what they were doing. But no,
So-
in the next episode, she hands them back because you're right. She does the right thing always, and she's never going to do anything or step a wrong foot. So
Well, there's a problem with that theory in the first place, in that almost all those rings were red Aja, as we already said. So she wouldn't have had the requisite colors.
I think what's so funny
Our
about
Captain
this is
Planet team would be missing colors.
at some point doesn't the presence of those rings and handing them back essentially mandate that the Aes Sedai now have to go to war with the White Cloaks and wipe them out?
Yep.
I mean, we just found evidence that the White Cloaks are not only murdering Aes Sedai but keeping their rings as trophies of war. Like, okay, this is about as abject and absolute a declaration of war as can possibly be done. Like, sorry,
I don't know.
White Cloaks, you gotta go.
I don't know. If I was trying to make a story about strong women and female magic users running the world, I would probably set that story in a situation where the White Tower sends a team of Aes Sedai to Loghain. They almost get beaten by like a couple dozen, generously, soldiers overrunning their camp. They don't have a confederation of nations sort of at their back, so like they don't have the political power to rally countries to their cause, and they are constantly being killed as they like wander the world. That's what I would do. I would make them politically, physically, and like I'll throw in emotionally weak.
Yeah, it's hard to cheer for the Empire in Star Wars.
I cheer for the Empire nowadays.
Hell
That's
yeah.
true. The Empire
That's
did
true.
nothing wrong.
Right.
All right. Oh, good lord!
How did that
All right.
wolf get in the tent?
Did they even show the wolf?
So no, the wolf is in the tent. The White Cloak's out of it. So what?
It's because again they had dogs, and like how silly would it be if this dude was just getting drugged by the ankle by a chihuahua? Like the Taco Bell dog is just dragging this dude around, and you're like, Okay, fuck it. Like this is
The
nope.
wolves
I'm
have
done.
arrived,
I'm
but
done.
inside the tent. All right, coming up is probably one of the worst edits you'll ever see in your life. But Pips, if I can flag this, when the White Cloak intercedes to stop Perrin and Egwene, it's going to be in a couple seconds here. Let's
You know,
just take
do you guys
take note
notice
of the position.
notice
Take
the
note of the
branches
position
of
of
the
the White Cloak.
tree? The branches of the tree mimic the sun. Little branches coming out of the star, the sun.
I think that might be a standard or an icon that's in front of the tree, but it's
Yeah, I
difficult to
think
tell in
that's
this resolution. But I think they've got like poles that stick up that might have the sunburst flaring, as
Yeah,
No,
opposed to it
I'm
being
talking
a
about
feature.
the tree in the darkness in the background.
Yeah,
I
That's
can
what
see
we're
what you're
saying. We're
saying.
thinking that the tent has 2 poles and that have the White Cloak standard on them.
Oh, okay.
But of course, that would look ridiculous. Why would anybody possibly have that? Something we'll have to ask
Anyway,
Judkins.
Yeah.
more dogs. Right there.
Oh my god.
Okay, pause it, Pips.
Oh my
and let's-
god, that was horrible.
Did you see it?
He
I saw
was
the
directly in
dog.
front of them within arm's reach. He then
was in-
teleported about 15 feet back. He then had the dog run right through where Perrin and Egwene would be to hit him in the front.
So right there, how far apart are these two, do you say? And Perrin's not in this shot for some reason. It's
Definitely
Egwene.
a hands reach. I like the man. That is a great mustache, though. Just good for that guy. You know what?
Oh,
Solid.
Criminally
The-
underused, but the
That,
White
that guy
Cloaks
right
have-
there. That dude is an extra from Super Troopers. That's nice.
dude, the White
White
Cloaks have
Cloaks in the
impeccable
background.
barbers in the show.
Yeah.
that is a split second.
Oh, these people are fucking amateurs. Oh my god. This is honestly, I think I made a better fucking school project film in high
So-
school.
So
Of course, everybody did that.
okay, I've
Yeah.
a good friend of mine is actually a professor of film studies. Knew him for ages, but he teaches kind of film studies at a university, how to make film. He knows all the technical background stuff. And what he was telling me yesterday during our D&D night is that modern television, for the most part, is filmed on super expensive 12K cameras with a wide angle lens. And the reason they do that is they no longer frame shots properly, because with a 12K camera that always gets reduced down to 4K, which is the maximum that you can actually release stuff out, and a wide angle lens, you can basically pick your shot, whether it's a close up or a panic shot, any type of shot. You can basically, you've got enough on the frame that you can focus on what you want, so you don't have to set up your shot as a director. So it's a lazy way of filming, but it's a quick way of filming. So the standard method for all these fucking shows these days is to actually save time when you're actually out filming, because you'll run a scene once or twice, and because you have the wide angle lens and you can pick your particular angle, what you zoom in on, what you focus on, etc. in post, that's what they do. So the reason this editing looks so disjointed is they probably only filmed one shot from this behind Egwene angle and one shot from the other, and they didn't have anything better to basically cut the scenes or splice the scenes one after the other, because they're fucking lazy.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised.
I don't think. I think what you're saying is correct in the sense that that is sort of a common practice, but this is just sort of like a bad shot list in the sense that they had an idea, and then they realized oh shit, he's too close in post production. Well, we need to launch the wolf at him. Pull him back so that it makes sense.
So
I don't think this is laziness particularly having to do with camera and zoom focus. This is just laziness having to do with just a bad director and a bad cinematographer.
And the online editor, like I don't know, like
No,
this is so bad. I think maybe I was being a bit charitable, being like, okay, so this is the excuse. But I mean, if we just harken back to the days where maybe you didn't have those 12K cameras and you didn't have all that option to do all the framing and post, a director would actually have to run through the shots that they wanted and have to put in the effort, have to put in the time and make sure it was done right. And if it wasn't done right, they'd have to do another take and another take.
Well,
And
if
it
you did
seems-
that, you have to hire somebody with competence, and they can't do that. You have to hire somebody with checkbox.
I think that's very fair.
OBG70. Trust me, man. There was no lack of check boxes checked off here. If what is the expression? If there were any more check boxes on this show, Neville Chamberlain would have tried to give it to the Nazis. Like, the yeah, no, this was this is the result of check boxes, if you will.
I just want
Oh.
to say, on a decidedly less sophisticated comment notice, Egwene looking particularly thick in this shot, so good for her. And the tent poles do, in fact, have suns on the top. So, yes, the White Cloaks do have stupid suns on literally everything except their fucking uniforms. The one fucking place. Like, it's just so easy. Like, it's so easy to get it right. Like you were sitting there thinking, like, should we throw some, like, put it on the flags and shit, and, like, I don't know, on the tents, and, like, I don't know, put the horse's eyes and shit, and on like, I don't know, like that shit over there on the back of that barrel, just stamp a fucking sun on it. Yeah, it's great. Hey, should we put it on their uniform, like the tabard? Who the fuck hired that guy? Get the fuck out of here. We're doing serious business. Like, it's just, it's
Hey, at least they're not throwing stars that are shaped like that, and they get stuck in wood everywhere, and people pull them out and go, "What the hell is this?" Oh,
my
white
God,
OBG,
I would
giving-
love that.
Stop giving them ideas for season 3, OBG.
This show
Stop
is
giving
already
them
a
ideas.
satire. This show is already a satire. Like, lean into it. Make this shit just absurd. Like, we just saw it this week. The casting of Lizzo as Grandal. Fucking do it. God, I would love that so much.
Wait. Was that real or was that a joke?
No,
That was Twitter.
that was
Twitter-
Twitter hoping for it.
Hoping for
'Cause-
Lizzo cast as Grandal, and, like, I fucking
'Cause-
hope so. Oh,
Because
please,
they got
God.
Cad Swain? They're bringing Cad
yeah,
Swain
they're-
forward by like 5 fucking years or 5
Yeah.
seasons. Okay.
Anyway, let's
No.
move on. Everyone, our White Cloaks endorses Lizzo as Grandal. I think we can probably say that. Just burn it down. Just burn it down.
I don't
Throw some
think she's
gasoline on the fire.
I don't think she's curvy enough. Saying it first. All right, let's go.
She's got too much thin privilege.
She looks too healthy. Oh my god.
Okay, that shot. Every single shot we've seen, the dogs have been biting their left arm. The one with the fucking stupid pauldron.
So that's what it is. So the White Cloak uniform, all the White Cloaks were actually dog trainers, and their uniform was specifically designed to basically have that kind of one arm. All right, is that Mandarb in the background there? Horsewatch. We got to bring it back.
Barks.
You don't have
right
to.
there. Barks.
I'm just going to say it was.
Dog is so small.
Yes.
Dude, oh my god, they have the same eye effect on the dogs that they have
Yes.
on Perrin.
Hey, remember the joke that I made about how the White Tower scale is right if it was the Black Tower? Rafe knew what I was talking about. Nice
But oh my god, how is this a thing that happens?
Oh, wait. Alex. 2 decently looking white girls.
We've seen them before.
No, the one on the right is Asian.
Yeah.
Oh. Fuck.
The one on the
So
left,
close.
actually, these two, we did see them. Ozzy, I
Yes.
think it was Ozzy, and I think he was correct. It was either Ozzy or Aldan. You know what? It was Aldan. Aldan pointed out that we see these same 2 girls in the White Tower, and he's 100% right. And I think he was also 100% right. Like, probably the most attractive women we see in the show. Like,
By far.
Aldan had some real high level perception of this show. Let's just put it that way.
Mad
Like-
props.
Like 2 seconds in another episode, and he saw it.
But they were checking out Moraine's ass, so at least there's that.
How long's it been? 2 years.
Gross. Okay, pause. Has it been 2 years since Moraine was in the tower? Because we had
I'm
that
sure it's been-
prologue.
20.
I think they say that they check in occasionally.
Sure.
Okay, but what this is
That's fair.
establishing is that, okay, so if she was out on her quest to find the Dragon Reborn, that prologue was 2 years before? Because she gets all her gear together and then she goes, and then the next scene, you see Leandra and Gentle the guy,
Maybe.
and
I
then
don't
she
know.
goes to the Two Rivers?
I don't think you can assume that departure scene was 2 years before. Well, no, I think you have to assume it was 2 years before and not 20 years before.
Can I just ask
Yeah,
a
if
question
anything,
to you
but-
guys?
There's a continuity issue with that prologue because it was a reshoot. So just pointing out another inconsistency, but
Return with such a pride.
Just randomly bumping fists and just touching hands. Why not?
Safely hidden away, I assume.
No doubt she's resting after her long journey.
what's the point of this scene?
Nothing.
You look a little worse for wear too.
Okay, did they used to scissor too?
I
Yes.
know. I was just thinking the same thing. They touched hands. She touched her face. The only thing that makes sense is they used to bang.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Dude, Moraine got around.
Like the village bicycle. Everyone's had a ride.
Good God.
I
I
cannot
said I
believe-
apologize.
Maybe this
you
is
gonna
just a dude thing. I cannot imagine like letting someone touch my face like that. Like,
No, they'd
Oh
have
my-
broken fingers.
I mean, I feel like women who are really good friends, maybe, right? Like there's some more like hugging and just kind of like general, I think, a little bit. But certainly like Moraine looks like she's distressed here. She looks like she is like a cat that didn't want to be petted and she's like kind of frozen rigid, right? Like she's in like a fight or flight kind of like hot zone and she's just like, it's so uncomfortable. This is just fucking wrong.
You know the trouble with always coming and going, Moraine?
Is that a
we're
sex
all
joke?
citizens
I was just gonna say.
of novice. She will become a novice. You won't be here to guide her.
Okay, groomer.
Would need mentoring.
And you think she'll choose red? The wisdom of the two rivers. After her first channeling healed the dying.
Our yellow sisters will be desperate to get their hands on her. It's true.
That jawline bothers me so much. It's hard to look at.
Force of will she cannot hide.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone knows that the Reds are the only ones that have any willpower. Silly Moraine.
Rule of law. Police force reference is coming up too. But
well, I mean, clearly Nynaeve doesn't give a fuck about healing on account of the fact that she left the entire Two Rivers to die. But you know,
Well, and the fact that she's basically never done any healing outside of the magic heal bomb. Like they have not set up that she actually is a good healer in any way.
A sense that the world would be better if everyone obeyed the rules.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you and
Yes.
just gentling men out in the wilderness and talking about literal sedition and treason against the Amerlin like you. I honestly don't even know what we're supposed to like Dane asked, like what is this scene supposed to be doing? Like it's just so back and forth.
I mean, we're talking about how you know how easily Nynaeve's going to be swayed to the Reds. Only we forgot to include or the all of the context that she's giving for reasons that she'll join the Red is things that we've actively disputed in the show already. So, you know, it's just they forgot what they put in their own show. But also, it's very important to get that cops are bad in here. So, you know, sometimes the theme is more important.
How many scenes has Leandrin had in this fucking hallway in this one episode?
All of them, I think. But
He's got to be your fourth.
I was just gonna
I
say,
don't want to remember.
is it that they forgot, or again, like I think there's a legitimate point to be made that all of these people wrote scripts in an absolute vacuum. Like they wrote
Right.
these scripts like without looking at all at the other scripts around them.
It certainly feels that way. I don't know. Just,
I mean, at least they could have
just play it.
they could have borrowed from Aaron Sorkin and did the walk and talk. That would have at least been better.
Share those your contempt for men.
Say what you will about Aaron Sorkin being a political hack, and there's no doubt that he is. The man has a gift for dialogue.
Hell
you
yeah.
know. Uh,
Yeah.
Sorkin may be the world's biggest political hack, but there's no way on earth that he could possibly be bothered to mess with this dog water production like that.
Especially when he's
maybe-
on a certain white powdery substance. He writes his best ever.
Absolutely.
Maybe we've had it exactly opposite. Maybe this whole time we've been asking, why is it that all of the production, so all of the script writers, all of the directors, all the producers, all the actors, why are they all just no name, have never been anywhere, have no experience? Like, why would you hand them this giant 150, $125 million project? Maybe we had it the other way around. Maybe they tried to get all of those people, and all those people like, wait a second, what are you doing? No, I'd rather not commit career suicide.
Well, I think
I think-
there's a couple
think
of
OB
reasons, and we've talked about it a little bit. First is that when this first started being in production, Amazon Video did not have a super long Rolodex to bring in people. In fact, and we've talked about this a little bit before, they basically subcontracted out all of this. The other reason that it happened is showrunners are a little bit like head coaches in football in that their production teams follow them around like assistant coaches. So when a head coach gets fired, so do all of the assistants. And then when the head coach gets hired again, he then has to call them all up and hope that they haven't gotten jobs, with another coach. With Judkins not having any real experience doing this outside of Chuck, he was basically having to, call up relative nobodies because he hadn't worked with anybody before.
Call up the C team.
Well, wait, I think OBG's point was more quite clearly they didn't have enough coke on this fucking set because otherwise they might have written something a little bit better. Is that where you were
man.
going, bud?
Well, no, I was just saying. Well, okay, we could run with that joke, sure, but I was actually just saying that Aaron Sorkin is brilliant under the influence. He's slightly less brilliant, but still very good sober. And you can tell when you've watched an Aaron Sorkin written show,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
I
But-
do.
but
The
I
dialogue
think
is
we all.
great,
I think
yeah.
we all agree. Like we don't know where the money went on the show, so we've theorized hookers and blow, but quite clearly it wasn't blow because that might have actually made for some compelling dialogue.
Suggest you look for converts elsewhere.
And what started it was this scene could have been a walk and talk. As if you watch West Wing, that's what kind of started that
Yes.
whole thing where they walk. down
Okay,
the
let's
halls and
pause
talk.
here. If you guys will indulge me, at least for this, I think we need to discuss these Forsaken statuettes and maybe theorize who they are. So we have 3 Forsaken in this shot.
Is there
and it
not a
look-
shot where we get all of them?
Not all together, it'll pan
Okay.
across. But let's just keep this kind of in mind. So we've got this guy on the right who, what's the only identifying feature? He's got high cheekbones and slanty eyes. I think the middle one's a woman. And this one on the left, it's kind of out of focus, but I'm pretty sure it gets referred to as Ishamael.
On the right, I believe, is Raven, isn't it?
Let's keep going.
Yeah,
But
honestly, I'll throw in post. There's somebody did a like side by side where they threw which ones which are. So we'll see how
Okay.
well we guess them.
okay, well, I haven't seen that at all, so this is just purely my speculation. But what I will confirm is that there's 8 of them. So let's go through. We got 3 in this shot. And we can probably ignore the stupid dialogue between Steppen and Land because we all know how fucking retarded that is.
Not many people still make offerings to ward off the Forsaken.
Ward off the Forsaken?
Yeah, it's stupid on stilts.
You wouldn't say offering either, but
And who are you trying to keep away?
With your feather. So that okay, if we pause there,
yep,
that's why I
so-
think that left guy. So we've still got the same two off on the right out of focus, but now this lion mouth guy,
Mhm.
maybe it's supposed to be
Ishamael.
flames coming from his eyes, but that's what I'm saying is Ishamael. And if
on
we
the
look very,
left,
if the bottom left here,
Mhm.
that I think is Samael. I think that's
Is he
manlet.
short?
Yeah, short and's got scarred in the face, and he's like half as tall as everyone else. So that's got to be Samael. He's the manlet. That's the fourth one that we see, and we'll see a couple more.
About lies. I need to see clearly now. I need to see the truth.
Ishamael's not the father of lies. It's the dark one, you dipshit. Okay, pause. So
Yep.
here we see in the foreground on the right a healthy bosom
Mhm.
with a long ass neck.
Mhm.
Which one do we think this is?
So Semiraj is very tall.
Mhm.
The bosom would make you think Grandal.
I think
I
I
wouldn't-
concur with that.
I wouldn't think either Lanfear, not with that face, although it is Wheel of Prime, so who knows. And I wouldn't think Mogedion either. So
All right, middle guy, because unless Alex, OBG, do you guys disagree with that? That those tits are probably Grandals?
Yeah, just because of the voluptuous nature of it. Yeah, I would say.
Lizzo,
Well
we
done.
can say Lizzo.
Good God.
The middle
Alex,
one,
I-
the middle one has more of a Samael ring to it because of the beard.
Is that I think it's just a wacky outfit, but I'll defend Samael when we get across to it. I think
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, we might have seen three, and these two, at least the two that are in focus on this shot here, might have been further right from the
They
initial
were.
three that we saw.
Because the one that's out of focus is the one that was farthest on the right of the first shot.
Okay. So I'll only go so far as to say that this guy in the middle is an unidentified male Forsaken. I don't want to speculate on which one it is in particular because I don't see anything from it that I can discern one way or the other. But
Okay.
when we get to the numbers in a group, I'll
Mhm.
give you my speculation as to which ones I think we'll see and which ones will be cut.
Yeah.
So now we see two more in focus,
We've
and
already
these
seen
were
these two. Yep.
yeah. But the one on the left here, I think, is female. So if we're going from right to left, I think we've got Grandal, unidentified male, unidentified male, unidentified female. But I think if I had to guess, that's probably Lanfear.
I would agree. I was going to say that.
So I feel like placement, I would think Lanfear, right? So if you were to say I'm setting up a shot and I'm putting the three biggest Forsaken, I would say those three. If I was to put three out of all the Forsaken onto a little pillar, right?
Mhm.
I would say Ishamael, Lanfear, and probably Demundred.
I don't disagree. I think that's actually quite strong. But let's.
Man, imagine making that one on the left supposed to signify Lanfear. Look at that fugly ass face.
Yeah, but she's got long, voluptuous hair and wide hips for birthing. I don't know. All right, now we see.
Are you saying she's the god of fucking fertility? The goddess of fertility. She's got birthing hips.
Might be. I don't know.
I get kind
Damn
of a Avian vibe on the gun,
So-
right?
All right, pause here.
There we go.
Right there. Okay. So we bypassed what we agreed upon was Ishamael, and
Yep.
now we've got the manlet.
Yeah,
With the
clearly
kind
I
of
think you're
scarf-
right on this one.
That's got to be Samael. He's like half the size of the other Forsaken.
And then tall with less voluptuous, got to be Semiraj.
Gotta be Semiraj. Look, as racist as this show is, there's no way they're going to be able to avoid putting like the big neck extender on the black woman. Like, come on, guys.
Also, she kind of has dreads if you look at the hair.
Yep, that is definitely that tribal outfit.
Fucking.
I don't
fucking
disagree because
show.
that's what I had written down. And then we've got a last one here, which I think is also female.
So who are we
It's,
saying
no,
that
it's got to be
is?
Mogedion. So it has to be
Mogedion?
Mogedion then.
No. So I say this is Masana. And now I'm going to give you my
Oh
justification
fuck!
for.
If they're only having 8 Forsaken and they choose Masana, get fucked, show. Like literally.
Wait. Pips. And again, do the full spoilers thing. They are not going to cut the one Forsaken that Egwene mind crushes at the end.
But they're gonna crush, or they're gonna cut the one that teaches Egwene and all those other.
Yeah, because they're going
all
to
of the
figure that
things.
out on their own, and this way they avoid the
Fucking
unpleasant
Joe.
Shatter Haran fucking rape scenes. But this is where I'm
And
getting
this
to.
this way they avoid the Egwene is a sort of magical slaver with the
In part, yeah.
Also,
So-
well, it's problematic. You can't have Mogedion walking around Saladar with a fucking ball gag in her mouth.
Okay. So we've seen 8 Forsaken, and please indulge me a little bit further, everybody on YouTube and whatnot. But we saw Grandal, we saw 2 male Forsaken, which we theorized about. We saw a female one that we thought was Lanfear. Then we saw Ishamael, who I think was pointed out by Steppen and Lan. Then we got the obvious manlet Samael. And then we got the semi-obvious black lady Semirhage. And now finally, I'm suggesting that this woman on the far left here with the weird headdress or whatever is Masana. That leaves us 5 Forsaken to be excluded. And these 5 are Balal, Balthamel, Agenor, Moghedion, and Ravin. And I think each of those has a pretty strong argument as to why those are 5 that will be excluded.
Yeah, they're all
Agenor
ones that Rand kills.
Well, no, Moraine's supposed to kill Balal. But
I understand that. It was a good joke, though. Respect
was
the
pretty
joke,
good.
Dane.
And Moghedion doesn't get killed, but I respect. It's very good. Very good. But here's why. So Agenor and Balthamel, they're cut from season 1, right? They're already
Yes.
gone.
Yeah.
And especially Balthamel, who gets reincarnated as Arengar in a female body and masquerades as Halima and shows you that there are trans characters in the Wheel of Time, but it's through the intervention of the literal devil, and it's literally a joke. That's problematic for these people, so that's obviously getting cut. Those 2, they're gone, they're done. Moghedion, same thing. I think her being bound and leashed by Nynaeve and Elaine is going to be problematic. The fact that she actually teaches them something rather than them learning things on their own, they're probably just going to want to avoid. So of the female Forsaken, I think she's gone. Because in season 2, they're probably combining books 2 and 3 together. Balal is the first one to go because that whole Netweaver enticing Rand to come after Kalendor, that's probably a plot line they'll do away with. And
They're
even in
doing
the
away
books,
with Kalendor.
yeah, probably. So,
Everything is just in Falm.
so there's nothing for Balal to do, so he's easy one to cut. And then finally, Ravin, who mind rapes Queen Morghese. Like, they're not going to show Queen Morghese. They're not going to show any of that compulsion and other stuff. Plus, it gives Matt something to do. Like, they're getting rid of him too. But what that means is, of the unidentified Forsaken that we went through, you already noted Demandred. That's why I think Masana is the final one. And one of those males that we panned over and didn't know the identity of, that probably has to be Asmodean. And I'm guessing they don't want to cut that from the story because Rand probably, of any main character that needs kind of a teacher to teach him how to do anything with the power, obviously it's got to be Rand. So you can't get rid of Rand's teacher because he can't figure out fuck all on his own.
Well, we also know that Ragnar has already announced that season 3 is going to be book 4. So, of the first 3 seasons that have either been filmed, released, or announced, the only one that actually is getting a book for a season, not the Eye of the World, that's fucking dumb, is going to be the Shadow Rising and setting up Asmodean for Rand.
Sarah's hogging the mic there, but OBG, what
Mm.
can you weigh in really quick? And I think we'll wrap up this first part of or this episode of the rewatch. We'll have our break shortly, so chat, be
Yeah,
patient. We're going to
yeah.
refuel. But
I agree with everything. I would go back to the beginning with like that first one though. I'm kind of getting a Lal vibe because he's described as having that pointy beard, the one that kind of triangle down, and
Mhm.
that statue has a similar beard on it. I was just
yeah,
looking at
but
some fan art, and a lot of people include that in there as well.
but
I
but
thought
was
Samuel, but
Bilal wearing the pointy beard because that was the Tyran fashion? And was that something he adopted after he escaped from the boar?
very possible. But then again, I don't know. I just maybe he decided that's what he wanted to do. Like that's just how I've always had my beard, and I'm going to go with it. But I don't know.
Hmm.
If I mean, if you're going to go with, they're going to wear whatever culture that they adopt when they wake up, then all bets are off because they would change it. So
Bilal picked the country to move to precisely based on how their
yeah,
facial hair is.
yeah.
Can we just talk about how the one thing we haven't mentioned is how just absolutely abysmally stupid the concept of these statues is?
Yes.
Oh well, then there.
Like,
Yeah, that's the other way they look at it. Though. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you just reminded me of another point.
no, please.
That the people making the show would not have thought the way that Dane just said. They would have just been like, okay, what's the description of the Forsaken? Let's make our statues look like them.
Hmm.
It wouldn't have been, how they looked before they were sealed away. It would have been how
Well,
they looked in the show.
they hired a lore expert. It's not like they listened to her though.
Mm,
But
yeah.
like, let's just think about it though for a second here. So when were these statues made? Because
2 months before
either
production.
sure, but like, do you
I'm a
think
dick.
no one would have made statues of the Forsaken during the Age of Legends or during the War of Power, right? That
Right.
that that wouldn't have happened
No,
because
this is never established. Like,
they knew who these people were. There was no like weird mysticism about them. They were just traitors to the light. They were just bad people, right? They were villains, whatever. You wouldn't make
you
weird little
use them to
icons.
scare your children. They're kind of like I don't know,
Mhm.
devils or whatever, like
Sure,
fallen angels in
but that
Christianity. Like, but
but
no
that
one
happened.
worships them.
That's like post breaking, right? So like centuries, if not millennia after their sealing in the bore is when people sort of the mysticism around them started to be formed, right? So
Correct. Yeah.
why should like even the Aes Sedai don't know anything about these people other than like little snippets of like, hey, Agenor was the one who made the Trollocs, right? Like little tiny snippets. They don't know anything about Lanfear, for example. And yet fucking Steppen knows what they look like. Are you fucking kidding me? Uh
Ah.
just
Salty Texas C made a phenomenal point the other day, which was, you can talk for hours about everything that the show did shitty on screen. But the far bigger sin is what they didn't give you. We've now had what, 7 minutes of playtime in which we haven't seen Rand. Nobody has done anything interesting. Like, just missing everything good about the series in general is it's just wasted time.
Anyways, is this a good place to call it for a break? I know we've been going for about
yeah.
a good little while, but we know that we've got some pressing commitments in a little bit, so we got to be tight on our schedule for the next rewatch. It's not going to be as long, but I hope everybody had a good time, at least for this one. Chat, stay put. We'll be back soon, but we're going to go leave and recharge. YouTube, we'll see you in a couple of days. We love you. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share with a friend. That's the best way to kind of get this content out there. And we'll see you in the next one.
Before we actually sign off completely, especially for those on YouTube when we post this up, OBG70, you want to do a quick plug
Yes.
for your channel and things that you have going up?
Sure. Yes, I have a channel called OBG70. On Wednesdays, I have an Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Second Edition stream with Purple Valkyrie, Salty Texas Sea, Manam and Nethrin. We have Jed Hollywood Scholar, Squeak a Mouse. We have quite a good group, and we do that every Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I talk about Stargate, my channel as well. Friday's kind of an open. Sometimes I'll do an after dark show, sometimes not. And on Mondays, I talk about Asian cinema, Asian culture, anything from the Far East as far as manga, maybe some anime, some Korean dramas and Korean science fiction. I think this week we are covering, oh, I don't know. We did Seven Samurai recently, so we're kind of on that genre right now. So we're doing something with samurai swords. I don't know, but we'll see what that's all about. And I'm getting close to 500 subs. So if you're not subscribed, I would appreciate you help me get over that bump, and then I can do some community posts. And
Okay, so
yeah, it's a lot
Fantastic.
of fun.
yeah, so for those watching on YouTube, that means tomorrow he's got the Dungeons and Dragons stream, and yeah, 500 subs. If anybody's not subscribed, go ahead and throw him a sub. Let him get those community posts. It's a great way to grow the channel, all that stuff. And
Thank you.
that's all I got. So anybody else? Alex, you got any saved rounds?
Nope.
All right. Well, walk in the light.